Had to go down there.
Yep.
Who we got up here?
They wouldn't let Debbie print, even open it up because she didn't have permission.
Who we got? Let's see.
So,
PUDO business. This is Dave Garza. Dave Garza. Item number 4, new business. Ability. Okay. All right. Good. They items. All right.
who's doing your, where's the preacher?
I'm sorry.
Where's the preacher?
I don't know.
Not Miss Rita's here.
What's her name? What? Welcome to the council agenda meeting for Thursday, March 17th at 6 p.m. And at this time, if you will stand for the invocation. Mr. Cobb is not here this evening, so I will ask Ms. Richardson, would you mind saying this evening? I don't want to put you on the spot. You do.
But he did.
Thank you.
Let us pray. Dear Lord, we are thankful for the many blessings that we have here in the Arkansas River Valley in the city of Russellville. Lord, as we begin this meeting tonight, we remember those across the world who are going through an extremely difficult time. Lord, I ask you to bless this community. Help us to open our hearts to one another, to be kind to one another, and to appreciate our freedoms. Lord, I pray that each person that comes before this council tonight would be treated with dignity and respect. In Jesus' name I pray. Amen.
Amen. Face the flag or pledge allegiance. I pledge allegiance. Thank you. You may be seated. This time I'll ask the city clerk, Ms. Skelton, to do roll call.
Miss Cruth? Here. Mr. Harris? Here. Mr. Tripp? Here. Mr. Olson?
Here.
Mr. Harrell?
Here.
Mr. Westcott?
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Gray? Here. Mr. Keller?
Present.
Mayor Harris?
Here.
Mr. Smith?
Here.
And Ms. Skelton. You got our quorum.
Thank you. Council, you have before you the minutes from the February 17th meeting. Do I have a motion to approve?
Motion to approve.
I have
Second.
a motion and a second. Ms. Skelton, I do have some corrections. Were you notified of those earlier today?
Robin's going to send them to me, so.
Okay, so there were corrections noted to the general, to the street operating fund balance that was provided in February that will be corrected. Any other comments? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? Motion carries. Financial report, Ms. Johnson?
General fund revenues for February were $1,427,216, which was 0.13% above budget. Tax receipts were $1,155,356. Franchise fees and permits were $127,432. If you look at tax revenue comparison, there's an increase over prior year for city of 15% and county of 17%. And if you look at in comparison to the current year budget, the city is ahead by 9% on the actuals and 10% on county. Good news. February expenditures for the general fund were $224,583 were utilities and other. We're 5.4% above budget, still due to several annual payments that were made in January. $49,606 more expended than received. For the street fund, February revenues were $1,004,418. New sales tax was $728,856. State turnback and ad valorem taxes were $177,229. Half-cent road sales tax were $66,991. Interest of $13,805. There was an insurance reimbursement of $9,300. Street cutting permits of $4,100. There was reimbursement of the Solar School Crossing Beacon of $3,805, utility reimbursement of $332. Street operating revenue is 3.5% above year-to-date projections. February operation expenditures were $180,457. $112,946 were personnel-related expenses. $67,511 was utilities and others. In the half-cent sales tax spending, there was $44,137 spent for Russellville trails. In the sales tax spending, there was $144,042 for South Knoxville sidewalks, overlay, West Main Place drainage, drainage maintenance, and general sidewalks. February revenues for economic development were $106,049. This was comprised of new sales tax of $104,122 and interest of $1,927. February expenditures were $26,294 for a Ram pickup for the fire department. The balance of the various economic development funds as of February 28th, 2022, the 2003 fund was $1,548,854.24. The 2007 fund was $1,021,961.94. The 2014 fund was $640,948.76. The 2021 fund was $1,067,403.79, making the total of $4,279,168.73. February revenues for capital assets was $288,057. This was due to transfer funds for RFD equipment, RPD K-9 units, and vehicle, the Aquatic Center flooring appropriations, airport grant revenue, and insurance reimbursement for RPD equipment and interest. February expenditures were $183,846 for construction of the airport hangar, installation of HVAC at RPD, radio purchases for IFD, and James Park expenditures. The 2021 1-cent sales tax received for the street, we've received $7,471,629, spent $757,000 with a balance of $6,714. RPD capital, we received $1,066,926. We spent $275,000, and we have a balance of $791,921. For parks, we received $1,067,123. We spent $137,895, and we have a balance of $929,228. In the Economic Development Fund, we've received $1,067,404, and we've spent nothing. We have a little late news. We conducted the auction finally, and it closed out yesterday, and right now, the amount that we will receive is $87,954, and we haven't finished receiving all the payments yet, so that could be lower. That is more than double the last time we did an auction where we received $39,000. So, and most of that will go to the general fund. Any questions?
Thank you, Ms. Johnson. Okay, moving on the mayor's report, I want to address item number 2 first. This is a consideration of appointment of Hank Huggins to the Parks and Rec Commission. What is the desire of the council? I have a motion and a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Item number 1 is the State of the City Address. I'd like to present that at this time. To the citizens of Russellville, the City Council, City Clerk, and City Attorney, I would like to express to you the state of the city. As many of you are aware, I will not be seeking another term in office as the mayor of Russellville, Arkansas. So before I get into the specifics of the state of the city, I would like to thank the citizens of Russellville for allowing me to serve as your mayor over these last 3 years. While there have been several unique challenges presenting during my tenure in office, there have also been many positives for our community. It has been a privilege to work with my department heads, the council, and citizens to address these challenging issues. Together, we have minimized the negative impact of circumstances beyond our control, and we have optimized the positives, allowing us to strengthen our city's position. I will not spend time in this address discussing all of the positive things that we have done over the last 3 years, but I will emphasize the priorities of my administration. Those priorities continue to be economic development, city infrastructure, and quality of life. If you look at where Russellville was 3 years ago in relation to these priorities, you will see dramatic improvement. You will find a city organization that has had the opportunity to mature and to develop a culture consisting of structure, accountability, and prioritization that will ensure an effective organization is in place long after I'm gone. Russellville is moving in the right direction and is in a better place today than it was 3 years ago. I take pride in this fact and thank all of those who are a big part of making this happen. Russellville will continue to thrive if we just keep focusing on those things that will make us better. I will always be thankful for those citizens who love this city, are positive about our future, and are willing to roll up their sleeves to make Russellville a better place. We are fortunate to have people in our great city that care enough to donate their time and resources. I want to thank the council for your support over the last 3 years. While we have not always agreed on the resolution to every issue, your willingness to work through the difficult matters has benefited the citizens of Russellville and allowed me to be successful as mayor of our city. Thank you, citizens of Russellville, for letting me serve, and rest assured that I'm committed to your service throughout the remainder of 2022. Now, moving on with the State of the City address. I feel that I must make mention of the major issues going on in our nation and around the world at this time. The impact of the Russian invasion of Ukraine, the increase in inflation, political correctness that has gone amok, increase in lawlessness, and a cultural breakdown that reflects little respect for the rule of law are all issues that have either impacted us personally or will have an effect on us in the future. Russellville has not and will not escape the impact of these national and global issues. But if we continue to establish a standard of decency in our city, portray respect for the rules of law, work to serve our community, and elect officials who will represent those values that we hold dear, we will continue to be a community that we can be proud of and will thrive for generations to come. The coronavirus pandemic continued to plague our nation and the world in 2021. It seems that whenever we thought the worst was behind us, another strain would come along that affected so many of our citizens. The nation has not been united on the issue of vaccines and governmental controls that have been implemented during this pandemic. These dynamics have not escaped our city, but as your mayor, I continue to believe in personal liberty and the freedom for one to choose the best medical option for themselves and their children. The citizens of Russellville have worked through these differences with grace and dignity. We have exhibited a standard that demonstrates the quality of our community. Despite the pandemic, Russellville has done well financially and otherwise in 2021. The city continues to manage its budget conservatively. The difference between budget expenses and revenues has once again created a surplus of funds that protects the city's financial position from unexpected expenditures. An increase in revenue for the city has allowed us to improve emergency services for the Russellville Police Department by acquiring 2 canines, with 2 more to be acquired in 2022, that have already proven to be an asset. Purchase drones for use in searches and assessments of emergency situations, and raise salaries for the police officers serving our city. The increase in salary not only shows our commitment to our police, but also will make it easier to fill open positions in the future. As revenue from the temporary 1-cent sales tax is collected, we are able to continue making additional infrastructure improvements in our city, purchase needed capital assets to improve our parks, promote economic development, and purchase needed equipment for emergency services. In regard to emergency services, the city has taken steps to acquire a new ladder truck and pumper truck to replace aging vehicles for the fire department at a cost of over $1.5 million. Also in 2021, we will continue to complete major infrastructure projects and have scoped several more projects for work in 2022. In 2022, my priorities for infrastructure improvement are South Knoxville sidewalk installation from East Main Street to Ashley Drive, Phase 2 and 3 of the Schoolhouse Trail, breaking ground on the Downtown Streetscape project. These projects will have long-lasting quality of place and economic benefit to our community. In 2021, the results of the 2020 census were released, and they reflect Russellville as a growing city. As the 18th largest city in Arkansas, Russellville has seen an increase in population of 3.7% over the last 10 years. With the percentage growth of the entire state of Arkansas at 3.3%, the city of Russellville is growing faster than the state average. While this number may not seem impressive, the reality is that only 16 communities with a population of greater than 20,000 in the state of Arkansas have seen a higher percentage of growth. With the exception of Northwest Arkansas and a couple of other strategic areas in our state, Russellville is growing more rapidly than similar-sized cities of our size. We are a city that is vibrant, growing, and progressive. Additionally, as was stated in a recent article in the Courier, Russellville has experienced local industries investing $560 million within the last 5 years. These industry expansions mean that jobs are being created and further supports that our city is moving in a positive direction. In 2021, the city of Russellville entered into an agreement to acquire additional solar power to provide energy for the operation of City Corps' water treatment plants. These solar panels will be installed on city property and are projected to save costs on electricity over the next 30 years. City Corps has agreed to pass these cost savings directly to the citizens so that projected increases in water rates will be lower than planned. Additionally, you may remember that last year, Russellville entered into a solar power agreement with Entergy to purchase power from Entergy's solar power plant in Stuttgart, Arkansas. The savings to the city for this agreement was approximately $43,000 in the 12 months of the agreement. As previously mentioned, economic development has remained one of my main cornerstones. The increase in jobs and commercial investment in our area is a major part of the economic development strategy. But another part of the strategy is a partnership with Entergy. It was a partnership with industry, Arkansas Tech University, and others to develop a workforce development program for our community. We made significant strides in this area last year. These strides were significant enough that the governor of Arkansas committed $4.2 million to Arkansas Tech University for workforce development. The city has also allocated funding from the Economic Development Fund to support this effort. Additional efforts are underway to develop strategies from a recent economic development study for our community that was sponsored by the Russellville Area Economic Development Alliance. In conclusion, the state of the city of Russellville is excellent. When one considers the financial position of the city, the population increase reflected in the 2020 census, the economic conditions of the community, and the quality of life in our city, there can be no doubt Russellville is moving in the right direction. While geopolitical forces around the world may create a dynamic economic environment, the foundation we have laid today postures our city to weather foreseeable economic and political storms. Finally, I would like to reiterate my appreciation for letting me serve as your mayor over the last 3 years. While I will not be here next year to give the State of the City address, please know that I remain committed to our city and this community. I will miss being your representative and pray that God will continue to bless our city in a manner that allows us to serve and prosper. Thank you. Okay. Thank you. Okay, moving on. Departmental report, animal control. Mike?
Mayor and council, I'd like to thank you for this time to present my 2021 report. During 2021, the Animal Control Department responded to 479 dogs running at large calls, 150 nuisance cat calls, 79 deceased animal calls, 22 dog bite calls, 208 after-hour calls. We do have somebody on call 24/7 after hours for emergencies. 95 wild animal calls, 110 welfare checks, 49 noise complaints, and 21 other complaints, for a total of 1,213 complaints. During 2021, we received 721 animals, with 329 adopted, 107 returned to owners, 40 sent to rescue groups, 35 cats sent to barns. At the end of February, we completed our 2021 urban deer hunt, the archery hunt, and 38 deer were harvested. We are looking at July 16th to have our deer hunt orientation. It'll be at Shepherd Drive Park. And if anybody would like to participate in this hunt, just try to get a hold of me over the next few months so they can get online and take the Arkansas Bow Hunters Association test and the training through them. And as far as that goes, that's all I have, unless I have any questions. Thank
Mike.
you.
You met my 7-minute time limit there, buddy.
Well, Kenneth said he was going to have a long one next month.
All right, let's move on to Personnel Committee. No report, thank you. Finance Committee, Mr. Westcott.
Thank you, Mayor. Forwarded from our March 8th meeting, the following items were discussed and recommended to the full council. Item number 1 is consideration of a resolution that would authorize the mayor and city clerk treasurer to sign a lease agreement with Arkansas Tech University for the lease of land where Fire Station number 3 is located. And we present item number 1 as a motion to adopt.
Thank you for that motion. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Item number 2 is an appropriation request from the 2021 Parks and Rec Special Fund, the sum of $84,402.42 to be used for renovations for City Park, including sidewalks, bathrooms, and a playground fall zone. And we present item number 2 as a motion to adopt.
I have a motion, discussion. Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Items number 3 and 4. Number 3 is consideration of a resolution that would accept a bid for the MJ Hickey Pool Repair Project. And number 4 is the appropriation request for that in the amount of $920,479. And we present items number 3 and 4 as a motion to adopt.
A motion, any discussion?
Mayor, I do have a question or two. On this, with the route we went through the consultant or the engineering firm, will there be, so we've got a set of plans, so if something goes wrong, we have those plans to go back to, correct?
That's correct.
And so as long as we don't do any change orders without them or anything like that, then we don't void that process, correct?
That's correct.
What is the projected start and time frame for this project?
Mr. Thomas, can you provide that information?
The projected start time is as soon as they can start, because the pool will not open this year, so they'll have all year to get that done. What we've done is give them an April of 2022 deadline. That way, the warranty warrants the first opening and the second opening, because before we had thought about doing an October deadline, and we wouldn't get those 2 warranties in there on that, so we moved it back. So it will be, they should be able to turn everything over to us the first couple weeks of April, and then we open the last week of May of 2023.
So you're saying, so Hickey Pool, of course, at this point is not going to be open this summer.
Yes, sir.
Are we going to honor those prices or anything to the residents for the summer at the aquatic center, or the swimming lessons, or anything that normally happens at Hickey Pool? Are we just ignoring that or avoiding that this summer? Or are we trying to offer those same things at the aquatic center?
No, yeah, all that stuff, like the swim lessons and all that was already offered at the aquatic center. We did have some overflow at Hickey but that will take place at the Aquatic Center now. It's all the same prices. We are starting a new program this year, trying to get all our first year swim lessons done for free. We're going out and getting sponsors for that. With the Boys and Girls Club, their swim teams, their daily programs that they do, their weekly programs, they'll all be run through the Aquatic Center at the prices that we've been giving them at Hickey. It'll actually be cheaper because the Boys and Girls Club was paying lifeguards out there when all their stuff was going on. Now they won't be paying those lifeguards because they're already going to be on duty at the Aquatic Center. So it should be a little cheaper on the Boys and Girls Club part of it.
Thank you.
Yep.
Thanks.
So I would just like to ask, since this didn't come up through the Parks and Rec Commission as one of their projects, that we don't pull the $300,000 from it, from the Parks and Rec Committee. So that's my only ask on that.
Where would you suggest this money come from?
We had planned, as a committee, had planned to build a nice state-of-the-art splash pad at City Park with that money, and now it's not going to be in that fund.
Would you recommend this funding come from the Economic Development Fund or some other source?
Any other source be my recommendation, because you have a group of individuals that, given their time to be on a commission to decide what the best use of money is for the Parks and Rec Committee, and they finally come to agreement and find what they want to do, and then the funds aren't there. So at least have some place to get them when that time comes.
But it was the recommendation of the Parks and Rec Commission that Hickey just not be repaired anyway.
Exactly.
They had several opinions on that, but none of them were to repair Hickey Pool.
You're correct. None of them were to repair Hickey Pool. So, I mean, it seems, I don't understand. The Parks and Rec Commission doesn't want to repair Hickey Pool. We as a council decide that Hickey Pool is an asset to our community. So we're going to fix Hickey Pool despite what the commission recommends. But we shouldn't use Parks and Rec funds because the Parks and Rec Commission doesn't want us to fix Hickey Pool.
That's correct.
I mean, I can't disagree with that enough.
One of the things that I might offer, if the council wants to go forward with the proposal as presented tonight, because I do believe that a splash pad, which is one of the things that the Park and Rec Committee is strongly endorsing, and I endorse as well. I think it'd be great for our community to have a splash pad on the caliber of what's being proposed. And I've also asked Mr. Thomas to go forward with getting the design work put together for that, such a splash pad, that if the council does agree to go forward with this funding as presented, that and when that design work is done and we're ready to go out to bid, that we consider using economic development dollars to support the splash pad, because I do believe that the quality of life issues presented by such would fit very nicely under the economic development formula for our community. That does not have to be decided tonight or debated tonight, but it's something that I would like for the council to at least consider if you go forward with the funding formula today.
I would be 100% in favor of having that discussion and would lean towards that. I think that it would be, I'm not against having a splash pad. I'm not against doing a splash pad. But I think that the idea that we're not going to use Parks and Rec money because the Parks Commission doesn't want us to, it sets a horrible precedent. What if we want to fix a street and we decide we want to fix a street, but the street department says they don't want to fix that street? Yeah. We've set a precedent that now that this council is not going to have the final say on it.
Mayor, I like your idea, at least in part or in mostly. I think we should entertain that regardless of where we end up pulling it from, because if it's a need and it's going to better our community, then the council has the funds and the decision to make to fund it wherever we pull it from. And so I'm full in support of bettering our community, because there's nothing we can do more importantly than spend for the youth of our community, which is the future. And that's what the pool does, and that's what the splash pad both do.
Any other discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Item number 5 is consideration of an ordinance that would set the duties and salary of the city attorney. I move that we dispense with the reading requirement, read the first of 3 readings by title only with a short explanation.
I do have a motion to read for the first time, dismiss the rule, read by title only with a short explanation for the first of 3 readings. Do I have a second?
Second.
Who was that second?
Second.
Mr. Green.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
An ordinance setting the duties and salary of the city attorney, and for the purposes this ordinance, if passed, would set out and modernize the duties that were spelled out in previous ordinances and consolidate them into one ordinance, and would make or continue to make the city attorney a full-time job with no outside legal employment, and sets a compensation requirements which include evaluation during every budget process based upon the Arkansas Municipal League salary survey results for cities with 10,000 population or greater in size, and will repeal all the numerous ordinances on the city attorney from previous years.
Thank you, Mr. Smith.
Okay.
Item number 6.
Items number 6 and 6A. Number 6 is an appropriation request from the city's street fund sales tax improvements, a sum of $275,295.50 to be used to implement the South Vancouver Avenue traffic calming project. Number 6A is consideration of a resolution that would accept a bid for that project from Western Millwright. And the committee presents item number 6 and 6A as a motion to adopt.
I have a motion. Discussion. I do have 2 citizens who have signed up to speak on this issue. So at this time, Mr. Eaton, if you would like to step forward, present your name to the mic, give your name, and present a discussion. You have 3 minutes.
Mr. Mayor, I put my name on that list only to speak if there are any questions from citizen input in that regard.
Okay.
Otherwise, I have nothing else to say unless there's a question from the council.
Thank you. Mr. Eastman. Okay, thank you. Thank you. Council, discussion, or if you have any questions for the citizens that are in attendance.
Mayor, as we previously have said, this was, kind of brought up from some citizen concerns, mainly about speeding and so forth. Different things have been tried, and I think it's, I hope it's successful, because if it is, we can use it in some other areas of town. My only concern, I'm not saying it's a concern, my only concern, not saying it's a problem, is, and I expressed this to Mr. Newman and Mr. Duval yesterday, is I'll go back to Parkway. We have to narrow those lanes, but let's be sure we don't go too far with it. We're cutting 2 feet off of each lane, and that's my only concern.
Understand.
Now, I'm not saying that's too much, and I'm not saying it's not enough. I don't know. I'm just, because of what we lived through several years ago, I just want to be sure we get it right the first time.
Yes, sir. Mr. Olson, let me ask Mr. Duval. Mr. Duval, can you address that concern about the width of the lanes once we get this median, if you will, in the middle of the road?
Let me get to my notes here. The lanes will be 9.5 feet wide, and that's not including the curbs, so you would have more than 9.5, but the 9.5 is what will be the asphalt where the vehicles drive, and I think it's good. I mean, I think it will work fine, and I understand what Mark's talking about. We had issues with Parkway, but Parkway to me was a little different, so I think
What is the standard size for a lane?
10 feet is
usually a minimum, but in traffic calming situations, 9.5 is usually a area that most people go.
I'm not saying 9.5 is too small, it's just, having lived that, I just wanted to
Yes.
let's just take a second.
Be-
Be sure we're right.
Being in a community like this area, and it's 2-lane, I think, in my opinion, I think it's gonna work just fine. But when we had Parkway, you had 2 lanes going one direction. It was just all different. So, but in my opinion, I think it's gonna be fine. I think it will work great. I think it's a good start. I mean, like we said at our meeting, it's not gonna stop every speeder, but I think it will go a long way in helping that area.
Good.
Mr. Olson?
Have we made any headway on the Independence improvements? Because doing improvements on Vancouver without doing them on Independence, that's,
No, sir, I haven't done any studying on Independence yet, but with the mayor's direction, I will definitely do that. I have no issue with that. And I believe also Glenwood was included in that as well. Yeah, I mean, that's not a problem. We'll do a study and see what we can do to make that better as well.
can we, I don't know how that works. Can we get something on the agenda for next month so that we make sure we don't miss that opportunity? I drive those roads every single morning, and the traffic is much worse on Independence than it ever has been on Vancouver.
We can get some stuff and bring forward next month. I can get some traffic counts. I can check the speeds. I mean,
Well,
I can.
I think, Kenneth, what he's asking for is for us to go ahead and start looking at some design improvements.
Okay.
We talked about this last week. And
Yes.
I apologize if it wasn't clear that I was expecting you guys to go forward with looking at that, so.
Okay.
That's what he's asking for.
Yes, and-
So by next month, well, he's just asking, we'll give an update on where we
Yeah.
are on that design
We'll
consideration. We went through several design considerations on Vancouver before we landed on the one that we landed on. So so what we want to do is start looking at Independence and making sure that we've got a solution. Doesn't have to be the same solution, probably won't be the same solution.
Yes, sir.
But some solution.
We will definitely work on it and try to have you something next month.
Thank you. Any other discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you.
Item number 7 is consideration of a resolution that would accept a bid and authorize the mayor and city clerk treasurer to enter into agreement with Gonzalo Pena Landscaping for landscaping services in the downtown area from April 1 of 2022 to April 1 of 2024. And the committee presents item number 7 as a motion to adopt.
Thank you for that motion. Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Item number 8 is an appropriation request from the city's street fund reserve, the sum of $1,080,450,000 to be used to purchase vehicles and equipment for public works. And we present item number 8 as a motion to adopt.
Thank you. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Item number 9 is an appropriation request from the city's street fund reserve, the sum of $9,299.60. This is an insurance claim pass-through to replace a street light. And we present item number 9 as a motion to adopt.
I have a motion. Discussion. Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Mayor, that is the final item on our agenda this evening. I yield the floor back to you.
Thank you. Item number 1 is unfinished old business. Consideration of an ordinance revision to the PUD zone of certain realty in the city of Russellville. This is the second of 3 readings. What is the desire of the council?
Mayor, I move that we amend item number 1 to include Exhibit B regarding the addition of decks.
Second.
So I have in front of me, I think the council was presented this evening with a revised copy of the ordinance that included the decking that was requested by the developer. So I have a motion to read for the,
No, I have a motion to amend the
to amend.
ordinance. to include
Okay.
Exhibit B regarding the addition of
All right,
decks.
so I have a motion to amend.
Second.
I have a second. Discussion. I do have two individuals actually I have one individual from the community who has asked to, no, you've got an and there. So there's two individuals who have asked to speak on this issue. Mr. Garza.
Thank you for the opportunity. Dave Garza with Barrett and Associates. I've already told or talked about a lot of the different issues, but one thing I wanted to just say tonight is back in late 1990, I had the opportunity, a mayor asked me if I would be considered go to this project. It was a drainage project, Prairie Creek project. He was going to meet some landowners, council members, and the city engineer, and just out of the blue, he said, would you like to go? I said, sure. So I went, didn't know why I was going, but I did go, and we met for about 40 minutes out there, talked to the landowners. They were going to widen the ditch, concrete it with walls. There was some concern about slopes, whether it could be mowed, how wide the ditch was going to be, and it got a little bit heated out there. So after about 40 minutes, we went back to his office, and the council members and the engineer and myself, I sat there, I just listened. They started discussing this project, and it got emotional at times. And that mayor never said a word, just listened and just listened. So after about 30 minutes, he stood up and he said, gentlemen, this project is good for the city of Russellville. I believe we just need to condemn it and move on. The one thing that I learned from that is your job is hard. And sometimes it's emotional. And I agree and I understand. I've been on the board of the Arkansas Society of Professional Surveyors, where we've had to make some rule changes, and it did not go well for some of our state surveyors. So I understand that. We had a lot of heat that we had to deal with, and some legislators as well. So I do understand, but the rules were good. We felt like it was important. We need houses. The mayor has said that. We need houses. This is going to be a little bit larger houses, which that's what everybody was wanting to begin with. And so I just wanted to just kind of say, I know it's a hard job that you have to do. And if you just push aside the emotion and those that are involved and just ask yourself, is this good for this city? And then make your decision based on that. Because personally, I believe it is, but it's your call. I mean, it's your decision. That's all I have to say.
Thank you, Mr. Garza. Mr. Peel, would you please state your name?
Richard Peel, I want to ask Mr. Westcott, if your motion passes, what does that do exactly?
The motion on the floor at this time is strictly to include the exhibit regarding the addition of decks.
That was new and that was furnished here in the last couple of days.
Correct. That was
Okay.
not in last month's reading of this
Correct, you're
ordinance. That's all we're deciding on right here at this moment. And then hopefully the next motion will regard the entire ordinance.
Okay.
Thank you. Thank you. Any other discussion? None? I have a motion on the floor to amend the ordinance to include the decking. What is all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
No.
Let's do a roll call on that, please.
Mr. Westcott,
Yes.
Mr. Tripp,
Yes.
Ms. Caruth,
Yes.
Mr. Harris,
No.
Mr. Olson,
Yes.
Mr. Harrell,
No.
Mr. Gray,
Yes.
Mr. Keller.
Yes.
That is 6-2.
6-2, motion passes.
Okay.
We still have an ordinance in front of us to read. This would be a new revised ordinance, so it would be a first reading if we decide to read it.
Mayor, the general public has had no less than 7 opportunities to voice concerns about this project. including tonight. To my knowledge, there has not been anyone from the general public appear before this body and express any concerns of any kind about the project. Considering that the reading this evening is, other than the decks, identical to the reading last month, and if I were to overlook the unorthodox methods employed by the petitioner, I move that we suspend the rules, dispense with the reading requirement, read the first and final reading by title with a short explanation.
Second.
Okay, so I have a motion to suspend the rules, dispense with reading requirement, read by title only for the first and final reading. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
No.
Okay, let's do roll call.
Mr. Westcott?
Yes.
Mr. Tripp? Ms. Caruth?
Yes.
Mr. Harris? No. Mr. Olson?
Yes.
Mr. Harrell?
No.
Mr. Gray?
Yes.
Mr. Keller?
Yes.
6-2.
Motion carries.
An ordinance revising the PUD zone of certain realty in the city of Russellville, Arkansas, and for other purposes. This ordinance, if passed, would revise the previous PUD zone property located at Marina Road at Jennifer Lane, as further described in Exhibit A, and would set out the new floor plans for new structures that include 13 new floor plans that are attached to exhibits, and would also approve the decking and designate which houses on which lots will be decked, and that is in Exhibit B.
Thank you, Mr. Smith.
Motion to adopt.
I have a motion and a second to adopt. Discussion. Hearing no discussion, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
No.
Roll call, please.
Mr. Westcott?
Yes.
Mr. Tripp? Ms. Caruth? Yes. Mr. Harris? No. Mr. Olson? Yes. Mr. Harrell?
No.
Mr. Gray?
Yes.
Mr. Keller?
Yes.
6-2.
Motion carries. Any other action on this particular item before we move forward? All right, item number 2. Consideration of an ordinance approving the final plat of Thunderbird Square, which is a minor subdivision, and accepting the dedication of easements for the city of Russellville. This is the second of 3 readings. What is the desire of the council?
Mayor, I move that we suspend the rules, dispense with the reading requirement, read the second and final time by title with a short explanation.
Second and final reading, dispensing of the rules, read by title only with a short explanation. I have a second. All in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? Motion carries.
An ordinance approving the final plat of Thunderbird Square, a minor subdivision, accepting the dedication of the easements to the city of Russellville, Arkansas, and for other purposes. This ordinance, if passed, would accept the final plat made by Raspberry Surveying LLC back on November 8th of 2021, which is attached to this ordinance Exhibit A, and would accept the easements on the plat and the dedications thereto on behalf of the city of Russellville, and would designate the city engineer to set a bond in an amount and form appropriate to cover any other future improvements to the plat to be built.
Thank you. Any other action on item number 2?
Motion to adopt.
I have a motion to adopt. Do I have a second?
Second.
Discussion. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. I'm sorry, who did that second? Mr. Gray. Item number 3, consideration of an ordinance approving the final replat of the Sweden addition. This is the second of 3 readings. What is the desire of the council?
Mayor, I move that we suspend the rules, dispense with the reading requirement, read the second and final time by title with a short explanation.
Do I have a second? I have a second. This is for the second and final reading. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
An ordinance approving the final replat of Sweden Edition, a minor subdivision accepting the dedication of the easements to the city of Russellville, Arkansas, and for other purposes. This would accept the final replat of Sweden Edition, minor subdivision that was replatted by Barrett and Associates back on January 11th, 2022, which is attached to Exhibit A, and it would accept the easements and dedications of those easements to the city and the city accepting, and would authorize the city engineer to set appropriate bond to cover any future improvements to be built on that replat.
Thank you, Mr. Smith.
Motion to adopt.
I have a motion to adopt. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second. That came from Mr. Keller. Discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Okay. Item number 4, consideration of an ordinance for the approval of the application of private club for La Chiquita Club 2. This is the second of 3 readings. Mr. Gray did identify an error in the ordinance that has been corrected by Ms. Skelton. In section 1, where the name Sarah Heinzman, it should be Elizabeth Navarro. That has been changed in the copy that that's changed in this copy right here that Ms. Skelton has.
Okay.
So, with that being said, what is the desire of the council?
Mayor, I move that we suspend the rules, dispense with the reading requirement, read the second and final time by title with a short explanation.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Second and final reading. All in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? Motion carries.
An ordinance approving the private club permit for La Chiquita Club 2 Incorporated, and allowing for the application of the required permits from the Arkansas Alcoholic Beverage Control Division per Arkansas Code Annotated, Section 3-9-222, as amended for other purpose. This ordinance, if passed, would give the city approval for La Chiquita Club 2 Incorporated to then apply with the Arkansas Alcoholic Beverage Control Board and for approval as per the Arkansas Code Annotated Section 3-9-222 as amended.
Thank you, Mr. Smith.
Motion to adopt.
Motion to adopt. Do I have a second?
Second.
I have a second. Who is this on my left that had the second? Mr. Gray. Discussion. Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
No.
Motion carries. New business, item number 1 and item number 1A should be tabled because at this time, the payment for the publication was never submitted. Is that correct?
One was submitted, the second one wasn't.
Okay. So at this time, we can't take action.
Mayor, I move that we table items number 1 and 1A.
A
Second.
motion to table items 1 and 1A.
Second.
I have a second from Mr. Keller. Discussion. Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Item number 2, consideration of ordinance amending the zoning code for the city of Russellville. This is in relation to the El Paso University area of Russellville. What is the desire of the council?
Mayor, I move that we suspend the rules, dispense with the reading requirement, read one time only by title with a short explanation.
I have a motion, read one time only. Do I have a second?
Second.
I have a second from Ms. Carew. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
An ordinance amending the zoning code for the city of Russellville, Arkansas, ordinance number 1966, and for other purposes. This ordinance, if passed, would amend the zoning code in regards to El Paso University District, which is located in Article 2, Section 18, subsection 1, and specifically in paragraph number 4, with the attachment that is labeled Exhibit A, which shows the amended version with the additions in underlined red and the deletions in strike-through.
Thank you, Mr. Smith. Emergency clause is requested for this particular ordinance.
Motion to
I'm
adopt.
sorry, we got to adopt it first. don't
Motion
we?
to adopt.
Got a motion to adopt. Do I have a second?
Second.
A second from Mr. Tripp. Discussion. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Mayor, there has been expressed a request for the emergency clause, the emergency being the immediate need for more housing in Russellville. For that reason, I move that we enact the emergency clause.
Motion to enact an emergency clause. Do I have a second? Second from Mr. Gray. Discussion. Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Item number 3, consideration of an ordinance rezoning certain realty in the city of Russellville and for other purposes, property from C2 to College Hill Zone. This is located at 111 and 114 West Harold Drive. Submitted by Barrett and Associate. What is the desire of the council?
Mayor, I move that we suspend the rules, dispense with the reading requirement, read one time only by title with a short explanation.
I do have a motion and a second. And I was distracted. This is for one time only?
Correct.
Okay, one time only. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries.
An ordinance rezoning certain realty in the city of Russellville, Arkansas, and for other purposes. This ordinance, if passed, would rezone property located at 111 and 114 West Harold Drive, Russellville, Arkansas, which is further identified by the parcel numbers as included in the ordinance, and further defined and shown by the attachments labeled A, B, and the legal description labeled Exhibit C, and would rezone it from C2 to PUD, or excuse me. is that-
College Hill Zone.
Oh, College Hill Zone, excuse me.
Thank you, Mr. Smith.
Motion to adopt.
Have a motion to adopt and a second? Yes. Discussion. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Mayor, it has been asked for the emergency clause to be applied to this one as well, and also to provide more housing for the citizens of Russellville. I move that we enact the emergency clause.
Second.
I have a motion and a second on the emergency clause. Discussion. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Item number 4, consideration of an ordinance authorizing extension of water outside the city limits. This is the Eagle Crest subdivision.
Mayor, I'd make a motion to read one time only, short explanation, all that good stuff that Mr. Westcott recites so many times each meeting.
Suspend the rule, dispense with
Yes.
reading requirements, read one time only with a short
Yeah,
explanation.
Yes.
I'll
that's right.
second that.
Do I have a second?
I'll second that.
Have a second? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Motion to adopt? Oh, no, he's got to read it
I
first.
gotta
I'm
read it
sorry.
first.
See.
An ordinance authorizing extension of water outside the city limits of the city of Russell, Arkansas to Eagle Crest subdivision for other purposes. This ordinance, if passed, would extend water outside the city limits of the city of Russellville as per, and this is the final end to the procedure laid out by ordinance number 1458, which requires approval from the City Court Board of Directors, the Planning Commission, and the City Council.
Thank you, Mr. Smith.
Motion to adopt.
Motion to adopt.
Second.
Second by Mr. Westcott. Discussion. I do have, Mr. Garza signed up to speak on this issue. Okay. Thank you. Any other discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Mayor, recognizing the need for more housing within the county, I move that the emergency clause be enacted.
Second.
Have a motion and a second for the emergency clause. Discussion. Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Item number 5, and the last item on our agenda tonight, consideration of ordinance revoking the PUD for realty in the city. This real estate in the city is over off Parkway. What is the desire of the council?
Mayor, I move that we suspend the rules, dispense with the reading requirement, read one time only by title with a short explanation.
Second.
All right, I have a motion to read one time only in a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
An ordinance revoking the PUD rezoning of certain realty in the city of Russellville, Arkansas, reverting and rezoning the realty to downtown crossing zoning and for other purposes. This ordinance, if passed, would revoke the PUD zoning that is shown at the intersection of West Parkway and North Independence Avenue, which is shown by the attachment labeled Exhibit A and the legal description as Exhibit B. Would make the findings that there was no development whatsoever at the property when it was, after it was zoned to PUD, and would revert and rezone the property back to, from PUD back to downtown crossing zoning.
Thank you, Mr. Smith.
Motion to adopt.
I have a motion to adopt and a second from Mr. Tripp. Discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Motion to adjourn.
Do we need the emergency clause on this, Ms. Johnson?
It was not asked for.
No.
I have a motion to adjourn, meeting adjourned. Well, I got off to a slow start.
Well, how was that?
Kinda made it.
Not bad at all.